Hi, I'm Jon Fuller. I'm an environmental campaigner. I've been in this game for 35 years now. We face an unprecedented threat. Today, we're in Sheffield, in Mount Pleasant Park, talking to local people about the scale of that threat. Got a lot of experience of what works, what doesn't work. And there are times when you need to be incredibly hard, incredibly determined. I'm going to put it to you that this is one of those occasions when we need to be incredibly hard, incredibly determined and focused. Now, the primary issue I'm talking about briefly now for just a couple of minutes is climate change, but you are on the front line of that fight against climate change. Make no doubt about that. Now, in September of 2015, the Bank of England published a very interesting report, didn't get covered by the media, on the financial implications of climate change, particularly thinking about the insurance industry. The question was, who pays? Who pays for all the damage that would be done as a result of climate change? So then we move forward to December, COP21. That was the conference in Paris when all the nations of the world turned up, 195 nations, listened to the evidence, they negotiated on what their stance was going to be as regards climate change. The evidence was absolutely terrifying. It is a horror story. It is the worst challenge humanity has ever been asked to face. United Nations Environment Programme said that literally 1 billion people could be killed by climate change. World Health Organization gave facts and figures. Dow International, lots of campaign groups gave facts and figures. And I just quickly run through some. 340,000 infants are now being killed a year by climate change. Not something, again, that appears in the media, but the politicians know about that. That's the increased spread of disease in our world. The world gets warmer, wetter, diseases spread more quickly. In total, when you add in the number of people who are killed by extreme weather events, we're up to about 400,000. The politicians were told that by 2030, it'll be around about 600,000 people a year being killed by climate change if they met their undertakings to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. If they didn't, again, they were told that there could be 100 million people killed by 2030 by climate change. Biggest killer, again, being spread of disease. It is an absolute horror story. We've never had to confront anything like this before. And at COP21, 195 nations didn't just say we accept the science, we accept responsibility. The Association of Low-Lying States, they went there to say, if you allow the world to warm by 2 degrees Celsius, you will annihilate us. And they used that word, annihilate us. We will not survive this. Countries like Barbados, the majority of Bangladesh, everybody will just have to leave those countries. They'll be underwater. So their negotiating stance was 1.5 to stay alive. You can see that look it up on the internet, you'll see their website, the Association of Low-Lying States. Now, if we don't achieve 1.5 degrees Celsius, those countries, those nations are completely wiped out by rising sea level. Where are those people going to go? You're going to have a level of migration, again, that humanity has never seen before. So, as I say, I've been in the environmental movement for 35 years. Some of the really hard-hitting campaigns did work. Sometimes campaigns you don't necessarily have to go and be incredibly hard-hitting, but you can get your message across nevertheless and win over politicians. But politicians seem to be determined in this country to go in the wrong direction. When they came back from COP21, the politicians in the UK said that we are going to reduce the subsidies to a variety of renewable technologies. We're going to go ahead with fracking and we're going to expand some other polluting industries. That was completely the wrong message. That sends a terrible message to the rest of the world. Whereas a country like Norway, they came back from Paris and they said, right, what are we going to do? This is a hell of a big problem. By 2030, just 14 years away, they will be carbon neutral. They are going to massively expand their water reservoirs and have this grand vision of being a battery for Europe. And they're actually working on this. You can Google search it, you can check it out. Now that is a country that's very forward thinking. They're thinking, how can we use excess energy throughout Europe to pump water into reservoirs, and when it's needed over a period of time, it can be released from those reservoirs. So that solves the problem of intermittency around renewable technologies. There are a stack of new technologies that have come forward in the last 10 years that completely solve the problem that we face in this country as regards energy. We can solve all of our energy needs using renewables with energy storage. We are now awash with options. It's not just nuclear or carbon capture and storage. We are completely awash with loads of options. We just simply have to make the right choices, and our politicians are not. So we're going for a very hard-hitting campaign, and we would like people who are campaigning on the front line in the fracking organisations to pick up some of these materials and some of these ideas. Building on from what the Bank of England said last year, we said we're going to carry forward this whole idea of liability quite quickly and quite rapidly. We're proposing that a Climate Genocide Act be introduced to Parliament as a private member's bill or as a 10-minute rule bill. We can find some MPs who will be willing to do that, to carry it forward. First attempt, it will fail. Groups like CBI, they will fight that tooth and nail. They will not want that to happen. But there's a precedent. In 2007, prior to 2007, CBI fought the Corporate Homicide and Corporate Manslaughter Act. Now, the government of the day, they worked damn hard to get that into legislation. Eventually, it was brought into legislation. And if you were so negligent that you killed somebody on your building site, you allowed somebody to be killed on your building site, then you could be prosecuted, go to prison, and suffer a very heavy fine. So we want to bring that same principle into climate change campaigning. So it's a much more confrontational, powerful message. It's right up against you, the polluters, saying you're liable, you're guilty, and if you do this, you'll be called to account for what you've done. So it's a change of stance. Instead of, I'm a victim, please don't do this to me, it is, I'm coming for you, do not do this, and if you do it, we're going to put you in prison. So it's a different message completely. So we've got a stack of people, we're working already, we're warning the really big financial institutions what we're working on, we've informed the CBI, we've told all the cabinet members that this is what we want to achieve, this is what we want to do, and we're hoping that quite quickly we'll begin to make some powerful ripples and get people to change. Before we knew that Barclays Wealth was behind the company Third Energy, we'd already written to them. It was after that we'd written to them and told them that we wanted to seize their the proceeds from their dividends from fracking or any other polluting industry. Then at that point, we realised we were beginning to press some buttons. So just a couple of examples of the kinds of slogans we've got. We've got a stack of stuff. You flood my home, you pay. Climate Genocide Act. It's a simple message. A lot of people can relate to it. We're going to see a lot more flooding of people's homes over the next 14, 15 years, and no dividends from death. Now that's interesting, this no dividends from death idea is the shareholders are going to be responsible. They're going to be called to account. At the moment they think they're completely immune. Well, they're not. So the idea behind this act is to make them pay the money that they make from absolute misery that they cause to others. So seizing the proceeds of death. So the idea is, ladies and gentlemen, that we focus upon really making the message much tougher, much more powerful. Let's get the message out there to people that we are not victims. You are not going to destroy not only our water supply, you're not going to destroy our climate. We will not let you.